You're listening to The Drew Yari Show.
That's the wine and diner with kings and queens.
You're looking at the man. You're listening to The Drew Yari Show.
Hello?
Yo, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, Ruben?
It's chilling.
Same here. It's this San Antonio weather where it's humid for fall, and then it decides to get cold, which I'm pretty sure it's going to get humid again, like in 2 weeks.
No. Oh,
Yeah.
man, that sucks, because here we had like a little bit of a cold snap. So, like, the other day it was like a low of 29 degrees. A little bit of snow, but nothing like stuck to the ground. It was really cold. But now the temperatures are settling to like the 40s. So,
Yeah, apparently next week it's going to get into the 20s here. And the rumor is that the hot rumor going around is that it's going to snow.
oh man, that is. Oof, we getting that weather.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind snow. I just would prefer it to happen on a day that I'm not working.
Yes, that commute with that commute going to work with all the snow and just, it's especially when I'm waiting for the bus late at night, cold as hell. Like, it's not like I'm used to the cold. Like, I know a lot of people here from NY, especially in the city, we complain, oh, it's too cold. And when the summer hits, oh, it's too hot. So trust me, it's unpleasurable dealing with the weather.
I guess it's, when you guys are in New York, it's one of those things where you're used to it, but you still fucking hate it.
Yeah. Like, trust me, so my mom, she's from the Caribbean, Puerto Rico. She's from Puerto Rico, so she's used to the warm climate. But when it gets cold, like when it drops below a certain temperature, she's like, oh, it's too cold, blah, blah. And it's like, to me, for me and like most other people, oh, it's chilly, but it's not like bone chilling cold. So it's just different. We're used to different climates, or our bodies are used to the warm or used to the cold. So, but we get used to everything. Like we get used to everything, but we complain. We still complain.
Yeah, over here in San Antonio, like I said, San Antonio just has that bipolar weather where, in the summer it's always going to be like hot as hell, like literally hot as hell.
Yeah.
And then in the winter, it's like it doesn't know what it wants to be. Because I know there was one period where we had like a very humid Christmas, like really humid Christmas. And it literally decided to get cold like after Christmas. It's just odd, dude.
Yes, that's that. So one thing with the weather, like it gets, when we have certain types of weather, there's always a cold front right behind it. So it'll be warm, and then all that cold air is behind the warm front. So that's what happened here in New York. So it was in the 60s, I believe the 60s, mid to low 60s. So it was seasonably, it was a nice seasonable weather. And then out of nowhere, the temperatures just dipped by 30 degrees. And it was like, holy shit. Like, a lot of people were like, I seen them wearing like just t-shirts, maybe a light jacket, shorts. And then the next day you seen them wearing like thick coats, scarves, gloves, the whole nine. I was like, wow, like this, we get bipolar weather here too. We get that, and it lasts longer. So winters last longer, and summers last a little longer too here, especially the winter.
Like, here's one thing I want to ask, because like, you included, there's a lot of people I know over in New York. How much of a pain is it to shovel snow?
Ooh. Oh my God, that is the that question right there, because funny enough, like this past winter wasn't too bad, but I remember the winter before and the winter before that when we had just blizzards. I remember one of them back in 2014, I believe, because around my birthday, I had a job interview, and boy, we had just a ton of snow. And not only that, it was snowing every weekend. Like, I shit you not, it was snowing every single weekend. It was like, oh, okay, we just shoveled ourselves out of one snowstorm, and then we had another one coming. And the amount of times I had to go out there and shovel, and then neighbors wanted me to shovel, their walkway, and my back was like killing me. Like, I was in bed for like 10 hours after I was done shoveling. It sucks. It really sucks, especially when the snow after the storm passes and it gets really cold, and that hardens up the snow, and you got to shovel, and you got to use, I don't know, you got to get some Incredible Hulk in you, get that anger and just shovel that, because especially like after it snows, like you got to do it towards the end of the storm, or right in the thick of it, because it's still soft, it's powder, so you're able to shovel it no problem. And people got the snow blowers out, and that just alleviates a lot of the pain that you'll do just shoveling, manually with a shovel. But if you shovel late, like the day after, forget it. It's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. So as a New Yorker, it sucks. It's nice to look at, but it sucks to shovel.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's also like, like you just said, it's a pain. Like, it's a pain on your back. From what I heard, it's also like it can lead to heart attacks.
Oh yeah, it was a person that died shoveling snow. They were shoveling snow and it was fine, and just the next day they just dropped dead. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah. That's why when they tell you to take rest, like, don't overexert yourself, is because you may not think, you truly don't think that shoveling snow can kill you, but you're exerting a lot of energy. You're, especially you're outside in the cold, and then you're on the inside, all the layers are wearing, you're sweating, you're just exerting yourself. And especially you're out in the elements, it can really stress your body out, stress your heart out.
Well, I think anything involving where you actually have to use your muscles for anything is always going to be a stress on anything. It's always going to stress you out, It's you can also die from overworking out.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like if you're pumping iron constantly 24/7, eventually your body's going to give out.
Of course, the too much of anything is bad for you. Like, you can drink a lot of water, you can die. You can have a lot of sex and you can die. You can eat a lot and you can die. Too much sun, sun too long, you can shrivel up and die. It's a lot of things to that extreme. You do too much of, you're basically can croak, you can drop dead. Go ahead.
No, I wasn't gonna say anything.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, just anything, just many. I heard there's 8 million ways to die, and I know a good chunk of those things are just doing too much of something. So especially shoveling snow. You know, we got a winter. I think we have here in New York, and I know you have a lot of listeners that are from New York. I can say that we might have a pretty like crazy winter, especially since we had a little bit of a preview up here in good old NY. So I kind of feel like we're gonna have a crazy winter, but at least hopefully it will end, like it will start, but then it will end early rather than starting in January and then ending like in March or April as it had before.
I mean, at least over here in Texas, you know, the snow will literally just last a day. Like,
yeah.
The very next day, it's already, you know, drying up. So,
which, yeah, hey, I do not wish having a blizzard, on y'all, because over here, there's times when snow can stay on the ground for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, and depending on how cold it gets and how consistently cold the temperatures get, forget it. You're gonna have that snow, and if you're trying to park, if you're waiting for the bus, you're waiting for the train, like it is, it's a hassle. Like people, especially here, like we know that we go through those struggles, and fingers crossed we won't have, we'll have a winter just come in and out. That's my hope for this coming winter season.
Yeah, hopefully you guys are all right. But I guess to kind of switch gears, you wanted to talk about something. We were messaging each other on Twitter. You wanted to talk about G4 TV, correct?
Oh yeah, there was, and I'm pretty upset that I caught this late. A friend of mine's, he sent me this, hey Ruben, there's a Kickstarter for a documentary by some of the G4 personalities. And I was like, oh, really? Like, I did not know this, and I checked it out, and there was a YouTube video attached to it, and it was basically people. I don't know if you know this guy named Chris Gore. He was on Attack of the Show, and he did the DB Doomsdays. He was just a big film buff and into comics and nerd culture. Cool dude. And he was asked, and every time he went to Comic-Con, because, San Diego Comic-Con, it's one of the biggest, and he would interact with fans, and fans would ask him, hey, what happened to G4, what happened to Attack of the Show, what happened to X-Play, what happened to all these shows? And he kept getting that question asked to him all the time, and he decided recently, hey, let's start a Kickstarter, let's get a documentary, also a podcast, just having people interviewing people when the backers will ask questions. So I knew about this very last minute, just a few days ago, and I'm mad because I wanted to donate more. I wanted to pledge more, and essentially the goal was $25,000, and they went around 85. They went above 85. Let me check the. All right, so 85,168 hours from. They basically more than double than what they got, and it shows hey, if people want to support some, money talks. People put in their money, so I'm really excited for this, and I wish I would have told you about this sooner. I just found out about it not too long ago, and it's something that I know as fans of G4 and fans of Attack of the Show and X-Play and just the whole channel in general, there's still a fan base out there that loves and that really support G4, and it's a shame that it's no longer here. And at that time, and I know for you fans, your listeners that are, listen to this right now, and they're a fan of G4, they will agree that it was lightning in a bottle. It was something that was ahead of its time. And it's a shame that it's no longer here, but at least we still have those personalities. We're getting this documentary. And the podcast is going to be, I believe they're like in the process of doing it now. And I believe by the end of November, we'll have a first episode out. And the documentary, by July of next year, 2020, at San Diego Comic-Con, they're going to have a first and then a national release by December of next year. And that's when I heard this, I was excited. I was really ecstatic about it because it's like, wow, like this came out of nowhere and now we're going to get answers. Like we're going to know exactly what happened to, what led to the demise of G4, from the horse's mouth themselves. So I'm really excited for this. It's a shame the campaign is over, but at least they was able to get funding, a lot of funding for this. And we were talking about it, and you wanted to donate, and I wish we can still donate more to this. But at least we'll get some answers. We got this documentary on. I can't wait. Like, I really cannot wait for this. Like, I wish it would be today,
Yeah, because like when you pointed that out, I was just like, that is something I need to get my hands on. Right, as soon as I see it, or as soon as it comes, I need to see it.
Yes.
Because like you, I was a big fan of the G4 channel.
Right.
I wouldn't consider myself like a huge gamer. But that channel was always very entertaining and fun to watch, because it didn't just like talk about, hey, let's show you how to play video games. It like, for example, it had documentaries about, I remember specifically there's a documentary about the history of violent video games.
Yes.
And, there's an interesting note about Mortal Kombat that it actually went to Congress because they deemed it way too violent. And I just thought the documentary was very interesting. And when, I forgot when the actual channel like got canceled. Like, what year did the channel like kind of die?
2013. Because after first the host left from Attack of the Show, I know Olivia Munn, she left towards the peak of the channel. Olivia Munn, she left, and then Kevin Pereira, he was still there, and then Adam Sessler left, and that was like towards 2010, 2009, 2010. So the channel died, and around 2013, like the channel went off the air at around 2013 January, if I'm not mistaken. And it spanned so many years. Like, I look back, I actually did 2 podcasts, and I explained basically the rise and fall of Tech TV, and then the rise and fall of G4, and tie those two together, because there was a merger, and basically G4 wasn't enough homes. They had their fan base, of course, but they didn't have enough. And luckily, Tech TV had DirecTV at the time, and DirecTV was able to reach more homes. And Comcast went and brought Tech TV, and then that caused the merger, and then they laid off people. And a lot of the Tech TV heads, myself included, wasn't too happy about that. But I gave G4 a chance, and there was so many shows, Electric Playground, Filter, Judgment Day. There was so many shows, man. And then the mistakes that they did along the way, they just canceled shows. you know about Spike TV because TNA was on Spike TV. They were trying to turn G4 into a Spike TV light, and it truly felt. And even one of the owners of G4 went back and said it on Attack of the Show, ironically. He said if he could have gone back and did things differently, he would, because at the time he saw lightning in the bottle, but he didn't capitalize, and there were regrets on his part. And if he couldn't go back and do it all over again, he would, because it was such an outcry for the fans. And as obviously me and you know, big fans. A lot of friends tell me, "Oh, like you're a super fan." Like, yeah, I guess I guess you could say. I mean, hey, like at the end of the day, you know, you're really passionate about something, you go for it, you go balls to the wall. So the fact that there's this documentary out and we're gonna hear like the whole truth, nothing but the truth. It's very, you know, it's very uplifting and positive. So we can get some answers. And, you know, Comic-Con, maybe I'll go to Comic-Con next year. I've never been to one, so I need to change that and get to see some of the personalities finally in person, and just watch this documentary and just get some answers, you know, like legit answers.
The way you just made it sound was it sounds like the owner kind of like subtly admitted, or not, I don't know, not the owner, but I guess the owner, but like, you know, subtly admitted that they got a little too big for their britches. You know, like when the company or the channel looked like it was, you know, starting to build some steam, he just realized, okay, we're at a good place right now, so let's try to make it even better. Let's try to do A, B, C, and D. And it's like, you had a perfect formula and you're trying to add too much to it. And now you're just trying. And it's funny that you brought up TNA with Spike TV, because that's kind of the same thing with TNA. TNA at one point looked like, not that they were going to, you know, put WWE out of business, which that'll never happen. Let's just be honest. Yeah, but they looked like they were going to be a viable threat. You know, they looked like they were going to be legit competition. And at one point, I was actually a TNA fan. I was, you know, singing its praises. And then they got too big for their britches, and they realized, okay, we can get Christian. Okay, but who else can we get? Let's get Kurt Angle. Let's get more ex-WWE guys. And it's like, you realize you still got AJ Styles and Samoa Joe and a bunch of other your homegrown guys, right? Yeah. And it's like, yeah, but we need bigger stars. And that's what kind of, you know, started their downfall. Yes. But and also didn't help that Dixie Carter was a complete mark, but that's another story.
Yeah, she was a complete mark. And also to correct myself, on December 31st, 2014 is when officially G4 closes the stores. Because I don't know if you know that Squire Network, basically after the channel was, they decided to cut and end Attack of the Show and G4, so no new episodes were going to be aired. Like, that was it. And then that network was on for a few months and was just playing old reruns of the old shows, and then officially it died on December 31st, 2014. And there was you know, essentially they wanted the show, to the channel, I should say, to be more like Spike TV light. And there was so many, they had something good. And just like with Dixie Carter and TNA, they had something good, and they had their fan base. We had, you know, some ex-WWE guys that you know, that helped the company, but then instead of just focusing on the whole company, they got in Eric Bischoff, they got Hogan, they got rid of Six-Sided Ring, the whole, you know, the X Division, and the worst sin of all, trying to compete on Monday nights against Raw, and they quickly went back to Thursday nights. Like, that was horrible. I watched it live.
I remember.
So bad.
I remember that too, because like, I. And it's funny that you bring that up. My guest from last week, which was Andrew Carlick from False Count Radio, he brought that up because it's like the first show is when they brought in Hogan and Eric Bischoff, and they brought in all these ex-WWE guys like Jeff Hardy and Van Dam, and Vince counteracts it with, let's have, Shawn Michaels and Brett make up. And, obviously, who do you think watched, what show do you think was watched more?
Raw, obviously, because
yeah. And then,
say what you want. Say what you want. People are gonna watch two legends on television rather than just. I remember it was a steel cage, and Jeff Hardy was on top of it. I remember maybe yeah. So it was cool seeing Jeff Hardy, but we all know later on you'll see his drug problems and his demons get the best of him.
It kind of looks like they still are, but
they still are, unfortunately. And I want to say about Jeff Hardy when he was in TNA, his heel run, like, say what you want, it was like awesome. It was something fresh because Jeff Hardy was the ultimate, one of the like ultimate baby faces. Like people love him, girls wanted to be him, and he was charismatic. And then he turned heel at Bound for Glory 10-10-10.
Yeah. And
that, like, it was the biggest turn. And when, during his run as, TNA champ and with Immortal and all that, it was something very cool. But of course, it was NWO 2010, and you had guys like the Pope D'Angelo Nenero. He was someone that if he would have came in a few years earlier, he would have been the top guy. He would have been on top of that company. But, Hogan, Bischoff came in. They have a smoz of people. And, this, the rest is history, as they say.
And it also didn't help, when they came in, they got rid of the 6-sided ring. And Hogan's literal response was, oh, well, you're just going to have to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the people were literally booing them. And Hogan, just literally said, well, you're going to have to deal with it.
Yep, you got to deal with it, brother, because I'm Hulk Hogan, bro.
You have to deal with it, brother. But,
that was perfect.
Oh, thank you. But I thought Jeff's heel run was actually not bad. I actually still have his heel theme saved on my phone.
Oh, me
which
too.
Was the Another Me song. Actually, I like that. That's a pretty dope theme.
Yes.
But yeah, TNA.
Dark.
What going back to what we were talking about, it's one of its bread and butter. Starting out was that it had its own homegrown talent. I mean, granted, a lot of them were from Ring of Honor, but they were still homegrown talent. They weren't guys that were already established in other companies. I mean, they did have guys established in other companies like Jeff Jarrett, like Rhino, like Raven, Kevin Nash. And then when they brought in Christian, I thought that was good because Christian was established, but he wasn't a big star. Yes. He was a good piece to the puzzle. So I liked him in TNA. And then when they brought in Kurt Angle, I just realized, okay, that's a big move. But then it just started getting overshadowed. Like, let's bring in Jeff Hardy, let's bring in RVD, let's bring in such and such, let's bring in such and such, let's bring in the Hardy Boys, it's A, B, C, and D. And, again, Dixie Carter, bringing in Hogan, realize, oh, Hulk Hogan's going to work for me. It's like, nah, bitch, you're working for me.
No. Hulk Hogan is essentially gonna flip things around, get his money, and leave. And that's what he did. He went in there, he got his paycheck or paychecks, and he left a whole mess. And everyone that was left there had to clean the mess up. And it's unfortunate. Like, if we can go back in time, that's a kind of question that I go back, me and one of my co-hosts, Ron himself, we always talk about TNA and what if Hogan and Bischoff didn't, weren't introduced to TNA, if they didn't come in as not only on-air characters but backstage, what if they didn't, do that? Because I always think TNA will probably still be around, but look, like TNA is a shell of its former self. Like, it's a shame what it's become now.
Well, I mean, from what I heard, it's actually very good. Impact Wrestling on Access. I actually heard it's very good. I'm just going by what I hear from other people.
Yeah, it's been. I watched a few. Like, let's be honest here. I watched a few clips, and what the clips have been, they've been good. Matches are good. You have a lot of compelling characters. You have intergender matches, which I know not everyone's fans of. Tessa Blanchard and Sami Callihan. Men touching women. And I know not everyone's a fan of that, but it's something that you don't see unless you go to an offshoot indie promotion or even like other popular independent promotions. But not everyone knows about them. But still, TNA is still infamous, as you want to call it, and you see that, it's like, wow, like they're actually really doing that. Like, I know WWE and AEW, NXT, they won't do that, and New Japan. So it's nice and refreshing to see something new, but they make it work. Brian Cage as well. Sami Callihan, OVE. You just have overall the talent. You have overall good talent, but just where they are.
I just think it's a damn shame what they're doing with Killer Kross.
Yeah. Dude, Killer Kross, he can talk, he has the look, he can wrestle, and it's like, come on, TNA, like, what are you doing?
Like,
or should I say Impact Wrestling? Like,
this is a guy that could have been your world champion. Like, this is a guy that I don't want to say he could have moved the needle, but he's someone that if you've never watched wrestling in your life before, like, and you saw him, you would go, he's somebody. That's some, like, because he's 6'5". I checked his height. He's 6'5". He has tats. He's in very good shape. He's a good looking guy. He can work and he can talk. And
it's the whole package. You will think, hey, let's, that guy right there, that's your world champion. That's your next world champion. Like book it. And nope, because of just, it's always comes to money and short, narrow-mindedness and just, it's always business. Always money, business that just messes potentially great ideas and great performers. It always comes to that.
Yeah, because it's like, how dumb are they to realize that fucking Triple H is watching him and going, he's gonna be our star. He's either gonna be the star of NXT or he's gonna be huge in WWE. And I know, like the narrative is like they'll be good in NXT and they'll be shitty on the main roster, or according to Ciampa, NXT is the main roster. But Killer Kross is somebody that Vince can turn into a star. That Triple H can definitely turn into a star. I mean, hell, he can go to AEW and be a star. Yeah. So I mean, either way, I think he'd be great for both companies. I mean, in WWE, he'd have to change the name. He can't be Killer Kross. He can be Cross, or he can be like Kevin Cross, which is his actual name. I mean, Cross would work. I mean, I know they like their one names over there. So, I mean, that works. And his girl's already signed with NXT.
Oh yeah, Scar Bordeaux. Yeah, like, hey, like when this blows over, you can definitely jump ship to. I'd rather him be in NXT first, of course, have his run there, a good year and change. Have that good feud, I think if he would have come down to NXT, maybe this Gargano, Riddle, Ciampa, Adam Cole. You have so many people that he can feud with, and good matches, good back and forth. I think Ciampa and Cross will be a good first. I don't know, that's just something I brought up and thought up on the top of my head. But he has definitely places to go, and especially with AEW, as another option for him. But I will definitely go to NXT. Me personally, I will go there.
Hopefully they don't stick him in a room and have him talk about how he wants to fight everybody.
Oh my God!
What? Okay.
Oh God!
All right. Is this like a Rusev thing where somebody wants to, bang Selena or Zelina, and they can't because Aleister Black is with him? I don't get it. This is a guy. I'm sorry, but this is a guy that he could have been again another guy that's easily he has the look. He's not terrible on the mic, but he's not someone that should be talking. He should be like the swift and silent type.
Yes.
He's an ass kicker. Why the hell are you having him in a room talk about how he wants to fight people? This motherfucker can go out and find a fight. He doesn't need to beg anybody for a fight. And it's it's like that meme. It's let's take Aleister Black, an ass kicker. He has a look. Women want him, men want to be him. There's no possible way WWE can mess this up. And then you have WWE create a hold my beer.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
How? How are you messing this guy up? And why?
Oh, God. Dude, I still am a huge fan of Aleister Black. Especially when he was, when they had him he wasn't in WWE before. He was Johnny End. And when I saw him, Tommy End, Tommy End, he was I saw him and said, yo, this guy is money. This guy is money. This guy has it. And a few years later, he's stuck in a broom closet. I think they locked him in there so they can get close to Selena. Maybe that could be because you have Rusev and Lana, and of course we all know why his push has been derailed for the longest. Someone wanted to mess with with Lana, wanted to sue with Lana, and he was like no. So all right, so we're gonna bury your ass now. So it's again, it comes to business, mixing business with personal shit. And again, that you have Rusev, you have Aleister Black, those two, it just baffles my mind, man. It just really baffles my mind how you have so much talent and they find ways, they find inventive ways of just screwing them over. It's like you said, hold my beer. And I just, oh my God, even, and I know you talked about this, the Hell in a Cell abomination. I watched it live, and there was another one, the ball was on their court. Hey, the Fiend, Bray Wyatt is over. Seth is starting to falter. He's not as over. People are essentially turn on him. No, we're just gonna have the match stopped because apparently he went too far with the Fiend, and then the Fiend comes back up, and it's just, I watched that. I was just, fuck this. I was legit one step away from just, all right, that's it. It was a nice run. I held out, but enough. Even to that point where I was just gonna, not to cancel my WWE subscription. No, there's still a lot of classic stuff on there, but just to the point that anything WWE, even the good stuff, I will not watch. Automatically lost a fan. But I don't know. Like, I guess I have Stockholm syndrome or something. I don't know.
it's just I completely sympathize with you because it's like, no matter how many times WWE like fucks up, it's just one of those things where we just go, okay, this is gonna be it. This is gonna be where they turn it around, Attitude Era all over again, ruthless aggression all over again. It's like we're just like we're desensitized because I mean I'm a WWE fan through and through, but it's just
it's
a
hard,
lot like the argument people like to make is that the 90s weren't that great, and it's like, well, this has been going on for almost a fucking decade.
Yeah.
And the 90s, that lasted until like 96. Like the Attitude Era started like in 96, 97, I believe.
Yes.
So it's just, I personally, I think for the company to really get better, Vince needs to step down. He either needs to step down or he needs to die.
Yes, unfortunately, you're absolutely right. I think, sorry, was you going to say something?
Because the reason why I say die is because there's no way in hell Vince will let go of this company until he's actually dead.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He would rather take his creation along with him than to just give up control. And I still think, and this is me and my friends joke around a lot about, I think that, and we all think that he would clone, like he will put his head or he will, Futurama, he will somehow transfer his brain onto Stephanie, so he can have the best of both worlds. Hey, I can not only still run the company in some capacity, but I'll be in Stephanie's body. Because, this Mr. Incest storyline with Shane and
I got tits, damn it.
I still
come check out my vagina, damn it.
It's like, hey, Hunter, oh God, it's like,
get out of my wife's body.
So no, damn it, she's my daughter.
God damn it, Hunter, have sex with me already, damn it.
No, that's disgusting.
Oh Lord, I still think in my hearts of hearts that he will somehow transfer his consciousness, his brain, and still be in charge. Or probably be in Hunter's body, but Stephanie's body, and he will still run the company. We're long dead, and he's still running WWE, and it's probably Hunter's fifth great grandchild being a 16-time women's champion and WWE champion, because you gotta give them all the belts. So I still think, as stubborn as Vince is, like, the only way for him to relinquish control if he is deceased. And I don't wish death on him, but of course none of us do. But just the fact that
some of us.
Well, some people
depending on who you ask.
Yeah, but me, while I just want him to relinquish control or just to step back. And it's ironic that he, like, this whole XFL thing, he hasn't learned his lesson. You wonder sometimes, hey, have you, as a wealthy man, you will think, hey, let's not get into business ventures that will make us not rich or make us a laughing stock of, the industry. Let's not do that. But again, he's a billionaire. I'm not. So what do I know? But one thing I know is that sometimes going back and rehashing old ideas, not XFL, but rehashing old ideas can help the overall product. Sometimes you just need to let people be themselves, and you need to have people, go off the wall, out of the box. Because if you keep everything so tightly wounded up and controlled, like, the promo last week on SmackDown from Baron Corbin. I was like, why am I watching this? Why am I watching this?
Yeah, the pre-tape shows I never watch, but so I already knew that was garbage. But I just saw the clip where he has like Roman Reigns' symbol or his logo, talking like a puppy.
Yeah,
and he's just like, ho, get it? It's hilarious, ho. It's like,
oh man, just cringe. As Draper would say, like I have douche chills. Like that's like 80% of the time I'm watching Raw, SmackDown. I just have douche chills. Like, oh man, they really have him say that. Oh no, that really happens. Like, you feel bad for these performers and wrestlers. Like, they really have him do all this stuff. Like, wow. Like, wow.
it's like whenever the superstars got stranded in Saudi Arabia, and they had at the last second they had to plan to bring in the NXT guys, and I think that was probably the best show of the year, the best SmackDown of the year, and it's like it literally happened at the last second.
Yes,
and there's that joke that people had saying maybe they should leave the superstars in Saudi Arabia more often. Which, I mean, they're kind of right, because that was a really good show. And, it was really good matches. Adam Cole and Daniel Bryan might have been the match of the year.
Yes, I agree. That episode was... It's an example of when their backs is against the wall and they have no choice. Okay, obviously, good chunk of the SmackDown roster is still in Saudi Arabia. They're held up. So in a few minutes notice, about an hour's notice, just bring in the NXT crew and created magic. But again, after that, it was just status quo. You had the same. Imagine if we didn't have that happen. We would just had SmackDown, live from Buffalo, New York, and it just would have been Roman versus Corbin.
Well, supposedly they had already had that plan for a while, and they just decided to use it, I guess to kind of spark interest. Or I think I don't know. The plan is that they wanted an NXT invasion for a while. They just didn't know when to actually have it happen. And that Monday Night Raw crowd, from Long Island was just bad.
It was very bad, dude.
Like, I remember I'd asked the question of DT and Mish, do you think that they should just save the bigger angles for better cities, like Brooklyn or Philadelphia, Chicago, instead of like a Long Island or Corpus Christi? And, as a fellow Texan, I support that notion. Corpus Christi, is a really bad wrestling crowd. Immediately, Mish just agreed, like, a lot of these bigger angles, these, crowds like Long Island, and from your perspective, being that you're a New Yorker, why is the Long Island wrestling crowd just so kind of dull?
Oh God, I guess because I remember going to a few shows in Long Island, and the only time when the crowd actually popped is when I think the show when Undertaker showed. I believe that was the only time, but most of the show was just tepid reactions. It was just, it was just that my friends in the area was sitting, we made more noise than the crowd was, and that's bad. It was very bad, and it's just that area again. It's not like not everyone wants to travel to Long Island. If you live near the area, that's great, but to travel to there, you take the commuter rail, cab. It is not. Trust me, it is not. A favorable destination to go to. And plus that, I know they recently rebuilt the Nassau Coliseum, and so I was like, hey, we had people come in, and it's I believe it was a hot angle at the time, but no, it was just dead. It was just people just on their phones. I remember one time when I was in Brooklyn and we was at a SmackDown Live on Tuesday. We went to Raw and SmackDown. It was SummerSlam, It was the Raw and SmackDown after SummerSlam, 2017, I believe. Yeah, it was 2017, and I remember people leaving towards the main event of SmackDown, and after that, Jinder Mahal came out after the cameras went off the air, and people left. More people left, and I was just like, oh Lord, like this is like, I told my friends, "Well, just get out of here. Let's go." And it's like, no. I'm like, oh my God, can we just? Because it was just getting really bad. Like the show towards the end was getting really bad, and this was in Brooklyn, mind you. And of course, that's when Jinder Mahal was champion, and he puts asses in the seats. he puts them asses in the seats, all right. But and yeah, like essentially, even that time, I guess, because Mahal was champion, but even at that time, I know the ratings were up. You had at least twos and threes. I believe now it's like ones and twos, and it's just crazy how just as time progresses, the ratings just get lower and lower and lower. It just dips into new lows.
It's funny how you start talking about ratings, because the ratings for the Wednesday Night Wars just came up. Well, actually came out not too long ago, but
yes.
AEW wins yet again. AEW got 957,000, which is
okay.
I think over 100 from last week, because last week I think they had like 850 or 840.
Yeah, they're like in the 800,000s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And NXT is actually like dropped 750,000.
I was surprised by that because I watched both shows, not at the same time. I did that once, and no, don't. Listeners out there, you listen to this live or on the download, don't watch both shows at once. I try to do what Don Tony did, what he does every week. I can't. I did it once, but it was just too much to keep track of, and you look one way and then you miss something on the other show, and it's like but
it's like
I was surprised.
I mean, regardless of what you think about DT, he's a better man than all of us. Because
no. I love DT. He's awesome. DT's awesome.
Oh no, I love DT too. I mean, granted, we're not like besties. I mean, we've talked a couple times, but he's always been cool with me.
Yeah,
I respect the hell out of him. That dude works hard. The fact that he's able to watch both shows at the same time and still retain information like perfectly is just, it's amazing. And I tried doing that. That's why I had to move the show to Thursdays, because originally shows on Wednesdays. I'm like, okay, I'll start right after NXT and AEW, and that didn't work.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I need to move the show the next day so I can pay better attention to both shows. But
he's awesome.
I thought, DT's the man. I thought both shows are very good. I just finished AEW today because I didn't watch it last time. I watched NXT.
Okay.
NXT, personally to me, I thought had the better show. But both shows I thought did very good. The ladder match with Maya Yim and Io Shirai I thought was amazing. Maya Yim, she had to be hurting getting up this morning.
Oh Lord,
she got her ass beat. Because I don't know if she broke her nose or busted her nose, but she took that pretty ugly shot to the face with a ladder. And
I saw that. Oh my God, that was gnarly. Dude. Like,
I mean, it was kind of hot, to be honest, but the fact that she could take a beating like that, and look who her boyfriend is. Her boyfriend's freaking Keith Lee, and I wouldn't be surprised if she's the one, being dominant in that relationship. But we're not going to talk about that kind of stuff on this show. But
family friendly, PG.
Hey, yeah, we're PG. We're very PG. Yeah. So we're not going to talk about stuff like that. But and then she took that fall off the ladder onto another ladder. I'm like, and it looked ugly.
It did.
Angie Carlick from last week, or not Angie Carlick, but a friend of mine, stated perfectly. You can't fake falling off. You can't fake falling.
No, you can't. No.
There's no way you can, especially if it's live. So I mean, to point out the obvious, that looked like it hurt. That looked like it hurt like hell.
Yeah, I cringed. Like I was watching it live and I was like, oh no, like, because of course you gotta have that one spot where someone gets pushed off the ladder onto another ladder or onto a table. I thought she fell onto a table. It was like, no, like there was still the ladder that was propped up between the guardrail and the ring apron. I was like, oh shit, like. Yeah. I was like, wow.
I was worried because when she's falling off, I'm like, wait, what the hell is there? Is she actually gonna fall onto the floor?
That's what I thought too. I was like,
I'm like, Jesus Christ, I hope she's okay. But and then after the show went off, Keith Lee came out and just embraced her. It was a nice moment.
Yeah.
Another good spot in the match was when I think it's Io Shirai. She's going after Mia, and Mia belly to belly suplexes her onto the ladder, and Io does this like weird kind of like grudge exorcism of Emily Rose pose where she's like doing that pose for like a good 5 to 10 seconds, and she has that look on her face where it's just like, holy shit.
Yeah, that was
These girls
crazy.
Went above and beyond in this match.
Yeah,
you gotta give them that.
Yeah, they did, man. They did the damnedest, man.
It was also announced that Johnny Gargano he's not medically cleared.
So he's injured, yeah.
Be in War Games, so it's going to be Finn Balor versus Matt Riddle instead, which just as good.
Yeah.
It looks. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I say this like it sucks that Gargano's injured, but you have now I say a match of the night. One of the matches of the night, because of course War Games. Now you have 2 War Games matches, but you're gonna have an interesting pairing between Riddle and Balor. So it sucks that Gargano's injured, but you will have you can make something good out of something bad. So I'm pretty stoked for that match. That's been announced now.
Well, also it looks like they might want to save Gargano and Finn for later on, like maybe the Takeover Houston, because I know Houston's going to be Royal Rumble. Yeah. So maybe they're going to have it for that, or maybe even Takeover Tampa, the night before Mania, which I'm fine with. A feud like that, you can't just throw it in 1 month. You need to really build up.
Yes.
For Takeover this year, I mean, it looks like they're just going to have 3 matches, which I'm fine with, because War Games is not a match you can just have for 15 minutes. That's going to be an epic match. It's going to be at least 40 minutes apart for each match, for the women and the men. And then you have, Finn and Matt Riddle. So
yeah,
it looks like it's going to be pay-per-view of the year.
I agree. I totally agree. And you got Survivor Series, and hopefully with all these matches, you have the triple threat tag team match, all 3 champions from Raw, SmackDown, NXT. You got the one with the mid-card belts, you have the NXT North American title. You got the Intercontinental, we got the United States. So you're going to have all these belts represented. You're going to have all 3 brands showcased in Survivor Series. And I'm actually, for the first time in a while, because oh my God, usually these pay-per-views are subpar or average, but you can possibly have a very good Survivor Series. I can't wait. I cannot. I'm pretty ecstatic for it, and as well as NXT, more so NXT, but Survivor Series now it's gonna feel like a big deal, because a lot of these pay-per-views have not felt like a big deal in a while when it's supposed to be, but they don't, and it's a shame, especially when you have all these, you have all this talent, and it still feels like the shows are just, okay-ish, So this coming weekend, next weekend is going to be pretty dope. It's going to be pretty dope. I cannot wait.
Well, there's also the rumor, Mish pointed this out, where if you go on Allstate's website and if you want to buy tickets for Survivor Series, you notice how the way they show the ring, they're showing 2 rings. So he implied that they might even bring War Games in Survivor Series, which that would be pretty fucking dope. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, can you imagine that team? You got Team Raw, Team SmackDown, which I think they should just combine it and just have Team WWE versus Team NXT because, having 12 people in one ring. I mean, it could work. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But I don't know. That's just me. So that I don't know. That I'm like you. I'm excited not just for NXT. I'm also excited for Survivor Series to see what they can do.
Yes, and to comment on Mish's observation on the ticket website, I was listening to that and I was like, if they do War Games on Survivor Series, that will be epic. They need something to separate, because again, all these pay-per-views that we've had, we watched in the past few months, past few years, there hasn't been anything like monumental that makes it like that stand out. Just like Elimination Chamber, Hell in the Cell, I still think they should just kill Hell in the Cell, like bury it in the ground, bury Hell in the Cell in the ground, compact it, and then bury that in the ground, because they ruined it. They saved the Fiend, but they essentially ruined the Hell in the Cell. And also, what is your take on gimmicked pay-per-views where, Hell in the Cell, Elimination Chamber, TLC? Do you think we should be done with that and just have TLC? Thank you.
Well, here's how I see it. Extreme Rules, I think you should keep it. I don't have any problem with Extreme Rules. I mean, how's about making every match Extreme Rules, or giving it some type of extreme type of look instead of having 3, Extreme Rules matches? But whatever. As far as like gimmick pay-per-views, a lot of the youngsters that are listening to this, Hell in a Cell used to mean something back in the day.
Yes.
Like, if you had a big feud, Hell in a Cell was the big blow-off match. Like, if you had 2 guys, that hated each other, that were having these big matches and just trying to kill each other, as soon as you heard, you, me, or as soon as you had Vince McMahon say, you two, Hell in a Cell. I'm sorry, my voice hurts from doing that impression. You 2 are going to be in Hell in a Cell. As a fan, you're like, oh, damn. Like, this is a blood feud. Like, definitely. Yeah. Same thing with TLC. TLC was kind of a way to, not necessarily to blow off a feud, but, just kind of make the people go, holy shit, I mean, it was more for, like, it was more Edge's match, Christian would do it every now and then. So it was, the Hardys. So it was mainly their match. It was more for, I guess, tag team matches. Elimination Chamber, same thing. If you had all these guys that wanted this guy's title, again, you'd have Vince McMahon going, since you can't decide who you want to wrestle at blah, 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 you're going to defend your title at Elimination Chamber. Yep. It's the same thing with Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank was always exciting to watch at Mania. I mean, as a matter of fact, I'll take that back. I don't have a problem with the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So, but I personally think they need to put it back on Mania, because it was probably the most exciting match on Mania. And nobody gives a shit about the Andre the Memorial Battle Royal gimmick thing that doesn't matter to anybody. But gimmick pay-per-views, keep Extreme Rules, but just make every match extreme.
Yes.
That's all you... I mean, make one match a no DQ, make one match a street fight, like a Chicago street fight, or a New York street fight, or a Texas, death match, or whatever you want to call it. Or make one match a ladder match, make one match a tables match, make one match a backroom brawl. Don't just have
a boiler room match or something like that.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like not just like, a straight up wrestling match when, it's supposed to be called extreme.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And I totally agree. Like, because again, me and my close friend and one of my co-hosts, Roman himself, he me and him will talk about this all the time. Like, why do we still have all these gimmick pay-per-views when Elimination Chamber meant something? We could have had it at Survivor Series. We could have had it at SummerSlam. We could have had it at this pay-per-view. And it's just, okay, we know that time of the year, so we're going to have Elimination Chamber, then we're going to have Money in the Bank. And, it's just, it's predictable. And then the feuds and the matches that are inside it, they don't enhance it. It feels too soon, too rushed because, it's the pay-per-view, it's that time of the year. So we just have to go along with it. And those type of matches can really like enhance a feud. And they're supposed to be those big blow-offs, but they just start like, they have one match. Someone spilled coffee on me. You're going to go and hound the sun. I was like, what? It's like, what was that? It doesn't make any sense at all. And that's why a lot of these, or all these gimmick pay-per-views and the gimmicks themselves are essentially losing their luster because they don't mean anything when you just have two people, whoever the fuck, just have these, are in these extreme types of matches and these extreme types of circumstances, and it doesn't make any sense. They don't fit, and I still feel like they should get rid of all of them. Keep, I'm with you. We need to have that one time of the year when everything goes extreme, but just everything else, Money in the Bank, Elimination Chamber, Hell in a Cell should be like dead and buried after that fiasco. TLC, it's cool to see TLC matches, but they should mean something. And speaking of extreme, did you see Full Gear last Saturday?
I saw the unsanctioned match. I didn't see the whole pay-per-view itself, but I was more invested in seeing that match. I didn't see the actual pay-per-view because I'm not going to pay $50-$60 for, all that. But
yeah,
I went on Daily Motion because they not Daily Motion, YouTube, because luckily they have the full match on YouTube, which was pretty cool.
Okay.
And a couple things. I mean, okay, overall I like the match. I mean, usually I'm not a big death match, hardcore guy. But this worked. Here's a couple things I think could have really enhanced it and made it kind of stand out.
Okay.
They should have had Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone and Excalibur not be on commentary. Like, you could have had Jim Ross say, I don't want anything to do with this, I'm going to bow out because this is going to be too much for me. Yes. And then you have Taz, be on commentary, and I guess you can pick, like, fill in the blank of whoever else can be his second in command. Someone suggested Joey Janela because, that's his shtick. He's, the hardcore guy, or Bad Boy Joe Janela.
Okay.
So, or I don't know if he has a job, Joey Styles.
Just about to bring him up too.
Like, you could have had him bring, for one night only, have Joey Styles, come in and go, oh my God.
Yeah, that would have been great. That would enhance the match. Like, oh my God. Like, you would have imagined, like, him just being there, commentating, and that, oh my God, spot. Oh, just like the good old days. I miss.
Another thing I think could have worked is, since it's unsanctioned and AEW wants nothing to do with this, take away their theme music. Since this isn't a match that we want on our card, and whoever wins this or loses this is not going to matter. It's all about win-loss record. We're not going to give you anything that involves AEW. We'll let the fans see it, but again, it's a lights out. Technically this match isn't going to happen, so we're not giving you royalties. We're not even going to pay you for this match. Yeah. We're not even going to give you a theme music. I think Kenny Omega should have came out, in like street clothes, because if it's a non-sanctioned match, why are you coming out in like tights? The feel of the match is that this is going to be a death fight, a death match.
Yeah.
So those are my only two bugaboos about the match. Other than that, I thought the spots were good. I thought it was crazy. The fans seemed like they were enjoying it, which I mean, that's really all that matters. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna let my cat out.
No problem.
Continue to talk if you want.
Oh, no problem. The unsanctioned match was like, I loved it. I know a lot of people on Twitter were essentially going up in arms about it. And something, again, I keep going back to, my close friend and co-host on my podcast. He said it perfectly that it's just the hypocrisy of wrestling fans. When we want an alternative, we want something different and new and exciting and refreshing. And then when we get it, people complain. And it's like, it's one thing to have, maybe we had, Taz on commentary, or maybe if there were no no AEW officials, or no one on commentary, things like that. That's understandable. But when you have people saying, oh my God, it's too violent, but you have in WWE all of these, street fights and unsanctioned matches, and it's just a regular wrestling match. But you have maybe a table spot here, maybe you have a ladder spot there, no color, no crazy spots. And when they are supposed to be crazy, it comes off cartoony. And when me and my close friend were talking about this, I was like, right. Like, sometimes I want to say, screw the fans, because we're getting something. I understand it's not for everyone. If it's not your cup of tea, that's cool. But at least relish in the fact that this is being done on a company that is a new company. They're going to try things out, and you're going to have to grow in pain. So when we get things, exciting things, like, hey, like, you may not like it, but at least, respect the fact that they're daring and willing to do this, because you want to go back to just watching unsanctioned matches, and I put in quotation marks up in the air, and it's just a regular wrestling match. So we got to be grateful when we get something cool and something exciting, because we've gotten used to just having mediocre style, extreme type matches, street fights, unsanctioned matches. So I loved it. Me personally, I loved it. And it was really gnarly. There was some points where I was like, okay, that's too far. But I said to myself, that's good. If even I'm saying that's too far, that's when you know that they push the envelope. Because I know most people, they'd be like, oh no, the glass, oh no, the mouse traps. But I was like, okay, all right, oh no, hell no. When it got to certain points, I was like, okay, hell no. But I loved it. I fucking loved it. I was like, I want this.
I think the one part, out of all the things I liked about it, one of the things I did like was when Kenny Omega is telling the Young Bucks to bring out the trampoline, or I don't know if it's a trampoline or a bed of the barbed wire, and the Young Bucks are telling him, no, like, Kenny, no, you're going too far. You've gone too far. And Kenny's like, no, just go get the fucking thing out here. Which I'm like, that's good storytelling, because they could have easily done the whole, the Young Bucks are like, yes, sir, we'll bring out your barbed wire, your deathbed of, whatever. But no, the Young Bucks, they were being humans. They're like,
yes,
Kenny, no. It's almost like, it's relatable. It's like, say you're at a bar, you're with your friends, and then there's this guy that, is trying to mess with you. Like, he's trying to, talk shit to you or whatever. And I'm not saying this is what you would do. I'm saying, like, in a scenario.
Of course,
like, you and him get into a fight, and you start beating the ever-living shit out of him. And instead of just letting him lie there, you turn over to your friend, hey, man, go get me my baseball bat. Ruben, no. The guy's literally passed out. He can't do anything. Go get me my fucking baseball bat now. Like, it's a human reaction.
Yes.
It's a human reaction on the Young Bucks part, which I I mean, I kind of nitpick at some points. I don't nitpick all the time, but when I saw that, I went, okay, that makes sense. You know, they made the Young Bucks seem human. What did you think about that whole barbed wire bed spot?
When I saw that, I was like, okay, like, I know at some point there's gonna be people that are gonna be like, for me personally, I was like, okay, that's insane. Like, I probably wouldn't have gone along with it, but just the fact that those two went along with it, and I heard it wasn't like real barbed wire, but it hurt. Like, real or not, it hurt. It looked like it hurt. And
what do you mean? What do you mean it wasn't real?
Like, I heard, like, I don't know if this is like, I'm you know, I just heard that it could have been like gimmicked or whatever, but it looked real enough to me.
Well, that makes sense. Because no sane person would actually jump into an entire bed of barbed wire. Like, because I'm just like, these two have to be really crazy or really dumb. Yeah. And now that you bring that up, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Because I'm pretty sure nobody's going to... Tony Khan is not going to sign off on a bed full of barbed wire. You know, unless it's safe. So I'm pretty sure he's like, try to get like gimmick barbed wire, like fake barbed wire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that makes sense. When you bring that up, that makes sense.
Yeah, because it looked like, you know, what I liked is the fact that at many moments of this match, there was a moment, you know, suspension of disbelief. And I like that. You don't get that a lot of times, especially in today's wrestling. It's like, okay, we're smart. We know this ain't real. We know this, you know, he got out of the way in time. But when, you know, at that time when I was watching the match, I was like, okay, this is crazy. Like, you would have thought, oh, okay, you're going to have some blood. You're going to have some crazy spots. But, you know, to the level of the glass, the glass that was in front of the table that Moxley drove Omega to, like, he used that glass of storytelling right there. I love that. Just moments like that, I suspend disbelief, in which you don't get that. So I was like, yes, this is what I need. This is what I've been wanting. But I know we're not gonna get this all the time. We're gonna get this in certain, you know, maybe like once in a blue moon, which I can understand. I can respect, because, as you know, like, Tony Khan ain't gonna sign on this all. Of course, like, he doesn't want to be liable and have, you know, quote unquote blood and guts.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, this is something that should just happen maybe once a year, because if you have too much of going back to our conversation from earlier, we were talking about, you know, shoveling snow. You know, too much of something could be a bad thing, especially in wrestling. If you decide to say, hey, we're going to have another unsanctioned match next week on AEW, and then the week after that, and then the month after that, and then the week after that, and the week after that, it's like, it kind of sullies the mystique behind the match. So, exactly. You know, it's like, you know, going back to the TLC match, you know, that was Edge's match mainly. You know, Edge and Christian are the Hardys, but mainly it was Edge's match. That, you know, that was the mystique behind the match, because that was his version of a big blow-off match. You know, his match with Cena. You know, his match with Ric Flair. You know, Monday Night Raw. You know, his match with Undertaker. You know, those are the big blow-off matches in those feuds. So this unsanctioned match could be, you know, Dean. I still call him Dean every now and then. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's okay.
This unsanctioned match could be Moxley's version of a big blow off to a big feud, or the big blow off to his feud.
Yeah.
So, do you see him anytime soon, maybe challenging Jericho for the title?
I would expect so, down the line, because I'm not saying you're running out of challengers. Well, I guess, okay, yeah, Cody. And like, really, when you look at the roster, and I've talked about this a lot, like, really the only other person, like, besides Omega and Hangman Page is Moxley. But I expect they will try to save that for, like, a big, like, of course, like a WrestleMania type, you know, like a All Out. They'll save that but I believe that he will get a title shot in the near future. But the roster is looking pretty thin. Like, you have Jericho, you have Moxley, you have Hangman, then you have Omega, and then everyone else. And it's going to be growing pains. You got to get people elevated. You got to get people, you got to establish them. And I feel in time, if they play the cards right, that they will, if they bring in, they sign more people or certain people, or they just bring up Omega, or if they bring up Hangman Page again. But I think that Moxley, almost called him Dean.
See,
he would. Yeah, it happens. Like, I try, but we know him for a good portion as Dean Ambrose. So it's understandable. But we all know who he is at the end of the day, and he know who he is. So it's no biggie. But yeah, I definitely see him challenging for the belt, because I mean, to be honest, I see Jericho holding that title for a while. Like, he's not going to lose it anytime soon.
I think he kind of has to, because he is the only guy in that company that is charismatic enough to carry it. Because, like you just said, the roster is very thin. Moxley seems like someone who can maybe carry it. He's charismatic enough, but Jericho has a way of just turning chicken shit and chicken salad. And I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but the whole, little bit of the bubbly thing, it's over. The La Champion, it's over.
I like that.
I like it too. It's one of those things where it's stupid, but it's funny. But who really else do you think can carry it? Because as much as everyone loves Cody is not charismatic to hold that title.
No.
I personally think they should have taken the time to build up Hangman Page.
I agree.
Because he's somebody, out of the whole, Bullet Club Elite thing, I like him the most. He's probably the least most annoying one of that group. He's someone that could be on WWE television, and it can look believable. He can work. I like Pac, but no, not Pac. Anyone else on the MJF, can talk people. He's someone that needs more work. He can definitely talk. He's a great heel. Him in the ring is average at best, but his whole shtick is he's a talker.
Yeah.
So I was just about to suggest this to you. Yeah. Do you think that AEW pretty soon is maybe going to start their own farm system, like their own developmental?
I believe so, because they need that influx of talent, and of course you got to prop up and elevate these guys and girls, but you gotta you can't with this roster. No, with this roster, what you have now, no, and especially what you said about Hangman. I believe eventually he will hold the title at some point, but not now. Like, he needs time to develop and to get seasoned. But I see him and Moxley, and maybe Omega if he gets out of that losing streak, because he's lost like almost every.
Yeah, that's
match.
insane. Because you would have thought that they would have built the whole company around him.
Yep. I would have thought that too. I was like, You see Omega, that they were trying to sign him, and he's like, no, sign with AEW, and then, immediately like loss after loss. And I get it, because you don't want all the elite winning all the time, because then it'll be like, oh, it's like TNA where, you have Jeff Jarrett winning all his matches and being world champion multiple times. So I get that, but at the same time, like he especially with, he's in in tune with that audience. Like, people know who he is in AEW, that came over from the Bullet Club from New Japan. So it's crazy, and understandably so, but it's crazy how much he's lost since AEW, and since the pay-per-views. We had, all these AEW specials on that pay-per-view, and he's lost a lot, especially to Pac, when he had that match with Pac at, was it All Out, was it? I was like, wow, like, I was expecting him to win that match. At the time, I was like, yeah, Omega's going to win that match against Pac, and he ended up losing. I was like, what? Like, he lost? I was like, oh, okay, well, interesting. That's all I have to say. Interesting. And the way that he lost, too. He passed out. He lost via submission, so that was telling sign right there, too.
It almost sounds like they want to maybe build up sympathy for him. Because, especially since now, he's on a major network.
Yes.
And because not everyone knows what NJPW is, not everyone knows what Ring of Honor is.
Right.
And not everyone knows what the Bullet Club is, or the Elite for that matter. So, Omega and the Young Bucks, they could have easily just given the Young Bucks the tag team titles. They could have easily had Kenny Omega be the first ever champion. They could have easily done that. But I think what they're doing is smart, because you want to kind of almost humanize them. You want to build them up. You don't want to automatically just have them win off the game and be like, huh? We told you how great he was. And just have people go, okay, so am I automatically supposed to like him? You want, like, the average, casual wrestling fan to watch this guy and go, huh, is this the guy that, everyone was saying was so great? I mean, he's I guess he's human like everyone else.
Right.
You know what I mean? Same thing with the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks, they haven't been winning as of late. They just lost on Saturday to Ortiz and Santana, I believe that's his name.
Yes.
And, good. Going back to Omega, good. Let him I wouldn't say continue the losing streak, but, like, let the American wrestling audience that's never seen NJPW or heard of the Bullet Club see this guy and sympathize with him. Like, they want to see Kenny get that big win. They want to see him get that one win that's going to put him on the fast track and, put him in the main event of a pay-per-view. Or, which, I mean, technically he wasn't a main event of pay-per-view. But, yes. Which we're supposed to forget about. But,
yeah.
They want to see him be the champion. It's wrestling 101. That's what makes a good babyface. Is you want to root for this guy, you want him to win. You hate the heel. You think he's a smarmy, evil piece of shit.
Yeah.
That is making the babyface's life hell. And I guess all roads kind of connect to. It looks like Kenny Omega might end up being the one that takes Jericho's title. I mean, obviously not now, but whatever their pay-per-view event is going to be around WrestleMania time.
I would expect so. To get that, like you said, to get the sympathy behind him, and to start racking up wins, and get and that promo segment with Omega being checked out by the doctors and all that, and just how banged up he was, and he even asked like, hey, how's Moxley doing? And the doctor said, oh, like he's he's pretty much in pain too. But like that sympathy, I feel if they slow burn it, he will definitely be that contender for the world title. But the thing is, they gotta start, and especially with their whole roster as a whole, they need to start propping up these guys, more promo segments, which they did. They had a few people talking to Mike, and I was like, this is good. After their matches, which is a good thing, so you can get a bit of how they sound and a little bit of their personality, because a lot of times, especially with modern day wrestling, it's just match, and you don't get to know who these people are. It's just, oh, well, you're supposed to know who they are because you know, well, not everyone knows who Omega is. Not everyone knows who Jimmy Havoc is, or Kip Sabian, or no one knows who a lot of these guys are. So you need to do your best to introduce these guys and have promo segments and for the ones who can talk, obviously, and vignettes, and get to know a little bit about them. And so you can have people back them up and then put them in storylines that people can relate to. And you say, oh, that Kenny Omega guy, he's cool. Like, I want him to win. I want him to do well. Or John Moxley, he's a crazy son of a bitch. Like, I like that guy. Like, just have these wrestlers be relatable so you can back them. Because if you just know, oh, he's a good wrestler, oh, that guy is a good wrestler, like, what do you have after that? Like, what more you have to offer to the table, when or that this person, that person is a good wrestler? Like, what more do we know about them? Yeah, go ahead.
Which it just seems like it's been a problem, in the business for a while, which is like, if you can ask like any wrestler, it's like, okay, who are you? It's like, I guess it's kind of like, in Kindergarten Cop, who's your daddy? What does he do? You ask these guys, okay, or girls, okay, who are you and what do you do? I'm a good wrestler. I can do suplexes. I can do super kicks. And it's like, okay, but who are you exactly? I can do another super kick. It's like, okay, that's not interesting enough, trying to think of another character. It's like, with Rusev Day.
Yes.
When Rusev had Rusev Day, that was over as fuck. Because he turned something that wasn't supposed to happen into something that was happening.
Right.
Like the whole crowd was chanting Rusev Day. People were buying his shirts. Damian Sandow, perfect example.
Another one.
A guy who managed to take, chicken shit and turn it into chicken salad, and he got punished for that pretty much. Nowadays guys just, they think being a character is a bad thing, which it's not. It's really not, I mean, you can be a good wrestler and still have an interesting character. Daniel Bryan is a very good wrestler. He's a great wrestler, as a matter of fact, but he also has a good character. AJ Styles is a great wrestler, and he also has a great character. He's not dull. I mean, before AJ Styles got to WWE, can you tell me one good promo he ever had in TNA, in NJPW, in Ring of Honor, anything?
No, I cannot.
He comes to WWE, he creates the beat up John Cena, quote, which, that got over. I mean, it was one of those things where you just kind of go, oh, it's kind of cute. Like, you know what I mean? And it got over. Same thing with Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe, great wrestler, but, he comes to WWE, he becomes a really good talker. I mean, not to say he wasn't a bad talker before, but he becomes an even better talker.
Yeah, that edge to him.
Yeah, same thing with Daniel Bryan. Same thing. Again, a lot of these guys just assume that their wrestling is going to get them by. That's not going to work. People, they like characters. You know what I mean? And it's just this weird notion of like, but if I have a character, it's going to take away from my super kicks and my suplexes. Which is like, dude, nobody like, my suplexes matter. It's like, no, they don't. Shut up.
No, they don't. They don't.
I guess to kind of segue into the next topic,
sure.
CM Punk is not technically back in WWE. He's a Fox employee.
Yes.
So if anyone didn't see, I forget when this happened. Tuesday? I believe it was Tuesday.
I believe, Tuesday night, yeah.
He made his appearance, or he made his debut appearance, whatever you want to call it, on WWE's backstage show on FS1. Renee Young, who apparently knew about it the whole time, which she revealed in like a backstage video where it showed everybody's reaction to Punk coming back, that she actually knew about it the whole time.
Yeah.
And, her and Punk are actually, pretty good friends. And it seems like Renee is actually pretty friendly with everyone. Like, she comes across as somebody that it's easy to get along with her.
Yeah, she's really nice. She's ugly jackets aside, she's a very nice person, very down to earth.
Yeah, and like I don't know, there's got to be something about her how she was able to kind of tame John Moxley. Like that's pretty odd. But this is a family show, so we're not going to talk about that.
Yes.
But wait for After Dark.
Yes.
But so she I don't have the video in front of me, but like she just says, why can't we have a surprise of our own? And then she does a countdown, and then you hear CM Punk's Cult of Personality theme hit. Punk comes out and does like a reiteration of a Roddy Piper promo saying, just so they think they have all the questions, I changed the culture. Yep. So, and then he announced he'll be back next week. So he's now officially part of the show, the backstage show on Fox.
Yes.
So let me ask you this: do you think it's only a matter of time before he appears on the main roster?
That is what I think too, especially since right now WWE, they're hurting, and it's all due to the fact that they haven't been building stars, and they really need like someone like a CM Punk to to get more eyes into the product, even because he's going to be there for a while, and then maybe by WrestleMania season, because it's perfect. He can be on the show on WWE Backstage for a while, and then by WrestleMania season he'll be back, and there'll be some sort of angle where it forces him back to the ring, and then he'll have one last match at Mania, and so I think it's just a matter of time. It's just he's in the waiting room. He's in the waiting room, just next in line to be on the main roster again. So yeah, I believe so. I truly believe so. And Vince, it's just something about him when it comes to making business deals that you just get in the room with him and you just change your mind. Like, okay, all right, I do it for you, Vince, and then they'll right back in WWE. They're right back wrestling. So it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen for sure.
I know Punk, he kind of alluded to, the only way I'm getting back in the ring is if they give me like a dick ton of money.
Yeah.
Which, they got that Saudi money, they got that Fox money, so I don't think money's an issue. It all comes down to Punk, because Punk hasn't wrestled a match in 5 years, which is, his last match was the Royal Rumble, and he left after that. So here's how I would book Punk.
Okay.
Two things, which I think your WrestleMania idea could work. I think it's better to have him show up the night after WrestleMania.
Okay.
Can you imagine, they're going to be in Tampa this year, right?
Yes, they are. Yes.
Can you imagine that Tampa crowd as soon as they hear Cult of Personality?
I think JR will say business is about to pick up.
Exactly.
It's about to be a slobber. Yeah. Because, dude, there was videos on Twitter of people, reacting, a decent crowd of a couple of hundred people at a bar or some lounge or whatever, and they saw Punk come out with Cult of Personality playing, and they're losing their shit. And I'm like, imagine hearing this in a sold out arena. People wanna go and see Punk live in the WWE ring again. People will lose their minds, and
because I think it's. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, people will lose their minds, and I know that will, especially Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania, you will want that. You want that. I
think it's smart that he's on backstage, but I mean, because the idea was that he said he auditioned for it, and that's cool, but it's smart that they're keeping him on a show that's not in front of a live audience, because they will be idiots if they have him go out there and do a pre-show for one of the pay-per-views, because the whole damn crowd will be chanting. I mean, the whole crowd already chants for him, even though he's been gone for 5 years. When they actually see him, they will lose their shit. So it's better to keep them on the show for now, and then when you're ready to have them appear, like, my idea was to have them be a surprise entrant in the Rumble.
Oh, like, that was a good idea too.
Like, be entrant number 30, and, interesting idea, it comes down to him and Seth Rollins. And the whole crowd, they already hate Seth Rollins. They're going to hate him even more. And knowing WWE, they're going to do, the best way to get sympathy for Rollins is to have him eliminate Punk, huh? It's like, do you want people to wish death on Rollins? And so the WrestleMania idea works better because I think people would be expecting the Royal Rumble thing more. You know what I mean? It's better to have him appear the night after Mania. Because, again, the crowd will go apeshit. Like, have him come out at the last segment of the night. Like, have Seth Rollins, talk shit in the ring. Or just, like, have a match and, like, out of nowhere you hear, Colt's personality, out comes Punk. And that'd be a nice way to bring him back. Or, the reason why I brought up Royal Rumble was that one of Punk's biggest, or one of his many, biggest, problems, being the WWE was that he never got that WrestleMania main event.
Yes.
So why not put Punk in, why not give Punk what he wants? Give him the main event of WrestleMania. I definitely love that idea because then it will like complete this crazy train ride that is his wrestling career. If he has that one more that main event, the last match of WrestleMania, last match of the night, and he would win, have his match, and it will be something special, and he can finally say, okay, I did it. I did everything I possibly could imagine doing. I checked off everything off my list, and now I can basically, quote unquote, die happy. So it's just a matter of, just the stars align and, everything, and who they have him challenge. Who. Because you got a lot of guys on Twitter who are like kind of throwing their name in the hat. The Fiend, he put up a tweet saying, I saw you. And, he showed pictures from whenever, CM Punk was doing the Nexus thing and, the Wyatts were feuding with CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, I believe. Yes. And then it shows Seth Rollins saying, fight me. And Ricochet replied saying, I got next. Paige kind of threw up a reply to a fan saying, since Punk is back, does that mean AJ's coming back too? And Paige said, I literally just asked him that. So, do you think this is a way to bring back AJ Lee?
The women's division needs AJ Lee so bad because Ronda Rousey, now that Ronda Rousey is gone, like she has to regrow her fingers, so we don't know when she's going to come back. We need that someone.
Because that seems like a WrestleMania match right there. You got AJ Lee versus Bayley, and Ronda Rousey might be coming back pretty soon. You got Ronda and Becky in the main, not the main event, but like you got Ronda versus Becky, and then you got AJ Lee versus Bayley. Like those are money matches right there. Big
money. And not as big as Sweet Saudi money, but big money nonetheless. I would love to see that if AJ Lee comes back. Even though for someone's making a living, she's at home reading books, just laying in bed. I would assume like anyone would be like, oh, no, I'm good. I'm comfortable here, but we never know. As they say in the business, never say never, because we can see her back in the WWE ring, and especially all of the opponents that she can have, especially with Bayley. That will be heel Bayley versus AJ Lee, and then all the pipe bombs, quote unquote, that she would be throwing on SmackDowns. That'll be, or Raw, because you never know, maybe she'll be on Raw, since the whole thing with couples are in WWE, they usually stay in the same brand. So, but never say never. I would love to see her back. Like, I'm a fan of AJ Lee, and that promo that she threw on the Bellas or the Total Divas cast. I was
when she told the Bellas, talent is earned, not sexually transmitted.
Yes, I was like, ooh, those are fighting words. Those are words that will get you knocked out. So that was some, as Vince will say, some good shit.
That's good shit.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. Like, I'm just so speechless right now. But it's gonna be such an interesting next couple of months. Like, before you know it, it'll be 2020, and it'll be WrestleMania season. So hopefully this Survivor Series will lead into feuds leading up to Mania. Like, this Survivor Series has to lead to storylines that will branch through the road to WrestleMania and then end at WrestleMania. Like, we just can't have storylines thrown at the last minute. We had to have some sort of now, like, things have to start happening now, because if you're just gonna have just Roman and whoever the fuck on the WrestleMania card and not have those big matches or those big feuds, then people aren't going to get their money's worth, and you're going to be there for 12 hours. You're going to be at Mania for 12 hours, so you got to make it worth people staying half a day,
So, going back to Punk.
Yes.
Who do you think is a better main event for him? Seth Rollins or The Fiend?
Oof.
Or do you just make that a triple threat?
You got to be careful with triple threats, even though the safe bet would just have them, have all three of them in a match. In terms of wrestling, a good wrestling match, Punk and Rollins. But if you want a good story, and you can even include a lot of the Nexus stuff, the new Nexus stuff, you can incorporate that with The Fiend.
I can just think of those promos, dude. With Bray, doing the Fun House, and I can just imagine him not even calling him Punk, calling him Phil. He just calls him Phil the whole time. That, I don't know, like, Fiend versus Punk is like you just said, or like we both just said, that's a money match.
Yeah.
Seth would be a good wrestling match. I threw out the triple threat because, Punk hasn't wrestled a match. Like we said, Punk hasn't wrestled a match in 5 years.
Yes.
So we don't know. I mean, for all we know, he's been training, to come back. So we don't know. But, like, you want to kind of keep it safe. You want to hide anything that he might be trying to hide. You want to make him look good.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Like, again, I don't even know if it's going to happen, and I'm already excited thinking about it.
Yeah, there's so many possibilities, man. Just when WWE just shits the bed on things like Hell in a Cell, and even though the NXT invasion's been overall, like, it's been good only when it's on Raw, when it's just a complete fuck fest. But just overall, the invasion's been okay. Like, it's been, it could have been better. I wish what's his name, Adam Blampier from the old What Culture, if he was still doing videos and still did, how would I book the NXT invasion, like, we would have some good stuff right there. But like, I'm excited, like, just with Punk coming back, all the possibilities, AJ Lee possibly being not too far behind. You have so many possibilities for WrestleMania, and also as well as Survivor Series. You can have these feuds, start at Survivor Series and go through the road to WrestleMania. So it's good to be a wrestling fan, especially got AEW, you got NWA, you got all these other wrestling promotions out here. So it's something to be happy about. Like, regardless if you're not a fan of WWE or you're not a fan of AEW, it's still, with all the possibilities, it's very exciting. Such an exciting time to be a wrestling fan. You just gotta, I don't want to say see how things play out, but just have an open mind. And hey, if WWE wets the bed, and screw it, right? If they screw the bed, they can't, because they got, it's just certain things write themselves. You can't complicate things. You can't overly stress things. You gotta sometimes let things roll and let it grow. You can't mess around with it too much,
So speaking about WWE, or speaking about somebody having an open mind, and we'll close this out with this topic. Okay. Jordan Myles.
Oof.
So he put out a video the other day. I think it was yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen the video. I'm about to play it right now. I'm gonna play into the microphone. Let me see if you can hear this before I play it.
Gotcha.
Can you hear it?
Yes.
Okay, let me just rewind it. So, if anyone doesn't really know, Jordan Myles was in NXT. He won a tournament for a breakout star. He won their breakout star tournament, and I remember because he had a match with Adam Cole for the NXT Championship, and that was I think maybe the last time he was ever in NXT, if I'm mistaken.
I believe so, yeah.
So what happened was WWEshop.com put out a shirt where it showed his name, Jordan Myles, but it looked like it was in the shape of a smile. Mm-hmm. And the shirt was black. To where Jordan Myles goes on Twitter and proceeds to call WWE racist because he claims that he told Triple H that he felt uncomfortable with the shirt, but they put it out anyway. WWE came back with, we told you what the shirt was going to look like. As a matter of fact, we even gave you the option of, here's a gray version, here's another version. And you didn't say anything then, but then you came out and said something afterwards.
Right.
So he put out this video the other day. I'm going to play it for you because I haven't seen it yet. Okay. A lot of people have. So anyways, I'm going to play it for you guys. Hopefully you guys can hear it well.
Alrighty.
Okay, dude, are you going to talk?
It's going to be a while before you say anything.
As of today, I'd like to officially announce that I quit fucking WWE. I am no longer employee. I refuse to work for racists.
What the fuck? He's seething with rage.
Yeah.
Everything they fucking stand for. All they did was ever hold our fucking people back. I do this shit for the culture. I don't need anyone's fucking permission to do what I want to do. Screw Jordan Myles. Don't ever call me by that slave name. Call me ACH and don't forget the super bitch. I quit. Fuck you.
So apparently Jordan Myles has quit the WWE.
Apparently, from from the veracity and intensity of that promo he gave out.
Your thoughts?
My thoughts. Well, I'm gonna try to compact this. Basically, I don't respect Jordan Myles because the fact that he knew about the design. Excuse me. He knew about the design, and he waited until after the fact to get all up in arms. And I understand the shirt. For starters, the shirt is ugly. The shirt is like an ugly design, and it had a bit of racist undertones. But we don't know, and I would like to think that the shirt wasn't being, purposely racist. First of all, and for him to get up in arms and angry after the fact, it just shows that he was just trying to get a rise and just trying to start a movement. Just because he wasn't In the main event, he just got that one title match with Adam Cole, and that's it. And you got to face facts. Not everyone's going to be a main event star. Not one's going to be at that in the top. There's so many people, so you got to understand that. And unfortunately, he just took something, blew it up. He actually just shot himself in the foot too many times by, essentially, everything being found out that he, didn't say nothing beforehand. Like he okayed the design. He didn't say anything. He didn't say, hey, this design is a piece of shit. Can we go back and change it to something else? He was like, oh, it's fine. And he didn't even ask for a different option t-shirt or whatnot, or not even to change the design completely. He just said, okay. So the fact that afterwards he got offended, it just shows backtracking that he's a backpedaler, and his cause, his call is for people to want to be behind the cause. It's flawed because he's a backpedaler. To go back and first I'll say, okay, the design was okay, and then after the fact to get all up in arms about it, it just shows that he is not to be trusted, and it makes his cause, it makes him untrustworthy, and it makes his cause untrustworthy. And that's why, like, I can't back him. And me as, a person of color, I'm Hispanic, I could understand. But at the same time, you gotta look at, you gotta be a little bit logical here. As hard as that may be for some people, and especially in this culture, we gotta be a little bit logical. And he shot himself in the foot, so I have no sympathy. Or as Scott Steiner would say, I have no sympathies for you because you just lied and make yourself look like a dummy. Yeah.
I think where his credibility fell in this whole thing was when he put out that tweet in the first place. He decides to call out Jay Lethal when he referred to Jay Lethal as an Uncle Tom.
Oh, God.
I mean, obviously, I'm not a person of color. I mean, I'm a minority, but I'm not black.
Yeah.
But I do have black friends, and I never heard that term until like maybe 5 years ago.
Okay.
About like 7-8 years ago, I never heard that term, so I wasn't too familiar with it. And one of my closest friends, who is black, he told me that is an ugly word. That's almost as bad as the N-word, even worse.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're basically telling somebody you don't deserve to be black. You don't deserve to be a minority. You don't deserve to be one of us. So for not Jay Lethal, but for Jordan Myles or ACH, whatever the fuck you want to call him, right. For him to out someone like Jay Lethal, who's been in the business for, 15, 17 years, give or take?
Yes.
Who's one of the most respected names in the business, for you to call him out like that for pretty much no reason, that makes you lose credibility. To disparage someone of your own race for really no reason because you're in a bad mood, I'm sorry, but you get no respect from anyone. Not just people that are not of color, but your own race. You're not going to get any respect or sympathy from your own race.
Exactly right. The fact that he brought someone that had no business, that had nothing to do with this whole T-shirt fiasco, it just showed that this guy was reaching and grasping for straws. And again, even Booker T, he brought up Jordan Myles, the whole Jordan Myles debacle with the shirt, and he said when he had T-shirt designs brought to him, he will go over them, and if he didn't like them, he will say, hey, let's go back to the drawing board, and maybe I want this design in a white or a black T-shirt. Most of WWE shirts are black, but you have more options now. But with the fact that he said, "Oh, no one came to me," blah blah. They just put up the design. It's a load of bull crap. And also what Booker T mentioned, the fact that instead of bringing up your grievances, and this is the thing that I hated the most, the fact that he brought up his grievances on Twitter instead of going to Triple H or going to whoever designed the fucking shirt. He just went to Twitter and then he put Jay Lethal's name, at Jay Lethal on Twitter, instead of just going to the people that you have an issue with from the jump. That is something that, as you know, this generation does too much of. We just go on Twitter. When in doubt, go on Twitter, complain until something happens. When you have a problem with someone, I remember, back in the day, you just go with that person. You handle your business with that person. You go to your boss. You go to your, coworker, your friend, family member, whoever, and air out your grievances with them. You don't go on Twitter and cry racism and then come to find out that not only you're a liar, but you're a backpedaler and you are bringing down your own race of people by calling someone that had nothing to do with the topic at hand an Uncle Tom. And that, and besides the other things, just I lost all respect. And he deleted his social media. What I heard, he deleted his Twitter, his Instagram, I think his Facebook. So he's like off his social media, which good.
His Twitter's still up. He deleted that video though.
Okay. So I heard he deleted his other social media, but if his Twitter is still up there, okay. But his other social media has gone good, because you shot yourself in the foot thinking that you was going to create some sort of revolution, and it failed because, of course, unless you delete things, and even if you delete things, people will grab video clips, grab tweets, and they will never be gone. People will always copy it. People will always repost it. So the fact that you were caught with, backpedaling, it just proved that your movement is flawed, and you actually hurt. He actually hurt the culture. He actually hurt the image of black people, and also in terms of wrestling, people don't want to deal with him now. Like I could imagine the only place he can go is to MLW, and not even been to bingo halls, and I wouldn't, even like I said jokingly, like don't disrespect bingo halls like that, because you're right. Nobody's going to want to touch him because in their head they're going to think, what happens if we don't push him the way he wants to be pushed? Because he cried racism before in the other company. What if he tries to do it with us? Like, he can't go to. Impact's not going to want anything to do with him. AEW wants to push the narrative that they're all about social issues, but they're not going to want to mess with them. Like, I can already tell. I can only think of maybe like the biggest, idiot of a promoter in like bumfuck Iowa. That's the only name. That's the only people I can think of that are going to want to make money and say, air out your grievances in front of these 20 people. He's kind of done, in my opinion. I don't think no one else is going to want to hire him because they're not going to want to take that chance. It's too risky. He's too hot. Like he's too radioactive right now. So I wouldn't touch him if I was wearing a radioactive suit and in a 10-mile pole. Like that's how radioactive he is. It's unfortunate, but again, you play stupid games and you win stupid prizes. Like that's it. He played a stupid game and he got a stupid prize. So he quit instead of being in the company. I understand if you're not in favor of working for WWE for whatever reason, I get it. But I know the soup guys, Mish, Joey, and John, they talk about this a lot. Is that there are people in the company that will sign these multi-year deals, and then they will complain, "Oh, I don't want to be here." It's like, you signed a multi-year deal. I don't have respect for you. If you weren't sure about signing, just write out your contract and don't re-sign. And then you figure out what you want to do if you have a nest egg, you have a bit of savings to tie you over in the meantime, cool, then you can come back. But if you just sign and then 2 or 3 months in your contract, oh, I don't want to be here, it's like, come on now. You're making yourself look bad, and that's when people don't want to make business deal with you, because you will just sign and then you want to just back out of your contract. And these multi-year contracts. That's why if you don't want to be there for 5 more years, don't sign for 5 more years. And I understand, like, everyone wants to be the best. Everyone wants to be, the world champion. Everyone wants to be on top. But with the amount of talent that's there, the talent pool that's there, it's impossible. So the best thing you can do, and hey, I would love to make $100,000 a year just running around for the 24/7 title and in catering, or at least have matches, just squash matches, whatever. Not all the time, but just wanted to, like $100,000. And then a lot of these wrestlers aren't they paid way more than what they're worth. So the fact that they're getting paid that much, take the money and go and run.
Well, not if you're Mike Kanellis, because you need to be taken seriously.
Yes.
Yeah, that's already been like talked to death.
Yes, I agree.
All right, Ruben, plug yourself, man.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Well, I have a podcast, RubenPrimeTV podcast. I talk a bit of wrestling, a little bit of wrestling mix in there. I talk movies, pop culture, society. So just a mixed bag. But I do touch on wrestling when I can on a weekly basis. It's mixed in. And you can find my podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, just where most podcasts are found. Also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RubenPrimeTV. And yeah, thank you. And I have a website, RubenPrimeTV.com as well. It's, just a hub where everyone can find the links to my social media, and as well as players or different media players to my podcast episodes. So, thank you for having me. I have fun. So much fun tonight.
Absolutely, man. I had fun having you on. It's been a blast. This is 2 hours just really went by.
It did. I was like, wow.
haven't had this much fun in a while. I need to get you back on pretty soon.
Oh, dude. Whenever you want me back on, I'm all for it.
Absolutely. Just like you said, don't forget. Just find his podcast anywhere. Wherever podcasts can be found, you can find his podcast there. And he has his own website, of course, and also Twitter, social media, whatnot. So, Ruben, appreciate you coming on, dude.
Hey, man, Drew, I appreciate it once again. And guys, I'm glad that you was able to put up with me for 2 hours and just had a blast. We went from topic to topic. So, Drew, man, thank you. And please invite me back. And you never know, I can, we should definitely set up a time when you can be on my podcast in the future, and we just speak back and forth.
Absolutely, man. Just name the time, name the place, and I'm there.
Gotcha, man. I appreciate it again.
All right, no problem, dude. The appreciation is mutual. Take care, dude.
Take care, man. All right.
Oh shit! I think he was gonna ask me something before I click off. Hold on 1 second. Okay, yeah. Man, I think he was going to say something. I just wrote him back. All right, so yeah, Ruben's a good dude. So, anyways, shout outs to Wrestling Soup, DTKC. Make sure to support them on Patreon. Again, Ruben Prime TV. support his show. Support everyone's podcast, really. Support his show. He has a website, social media, Ruben Prime. You can find him on there. Texas Podcast Massacre. If you're a fan of horror movies, new and old, you'll enjoy this show. I'm supposed to be on pretty soon. I just don't know when. But when I find that out, I'll let you guys know. Architect Podcast with some good friends of mine. With a good friend of mine, Derek, and his friend Irving. I had him on the show. We reviewed Endgame. That was a lot of fun. And then you got B-Show Brian. He has his horror podcast. I think it's called the Reanimator Podcast, if I'm not mistaken. So I gotta start listening. I'm so behind on everyone's shows. I have so many shows that I'm so behind on. I feel bad because a lot of these shows are done by good friends. So Brian's another guy I need to get on the show. I might try to get him on next week. As a matter of fact, forget I said that. I don't want to make myself look foolish, but I want to get him on the show pretty soon. And then you got False Count Radio with Andrew Carlick. He was on the show last week. He was technically on twice, but you guys won't hear the first episode ever because I fucked up on that. Andrew's a good guy. And, Trez, a good friend of the show. And John Draper, another good friend of the show. Tyler the Trademark, look out for his podcast. That's about it. I mean, that's really it as far as, shout-outs go. I'll be back next week. I wasn't on Discord because Ruben's on Skype. He doesn't have Discord, and I had no clue how to record on Discord while he's on Skype. So I wasn't going to force him to, make a Discord. And I mentioned before, if you guys were listening, I'm thinking about making the jump to Mixler. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see if I do it or not. So, and I'm gonna get started as soon as I can on the website. The idea is to have it launched on New Year's Day. The theme, New Year, New Yori. So I'm gonna get started as soon as I can. I get paid tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes. I mean, it's surprisingly very cheap to start a website. So, and I have no clue how to do it. Luckily, I have some good people to help me out. But anyways, I'll be back same time, same channel, and who knows who I'll bring on the show with me. So, anyways, guys, take care and stay warm and drive home safe. Laters.